Hello from the home of the Premier League champions, Liverpool. And yes, I am going to crowbar that into as many videos as I can in the coming weeks and months. But of course, as much as it's been about the celebrations since Sunday when the title was clinched against Tottenham, there are incredibly still 4 games remaining in this Premier League season, and the first of those comes up on Sunday when Liverpool travel to Stamford Bridge to face Chelsea. And so for that reason, Arne Slot's had to take a break from having a beer and enjoying this with his family and friends and all his players and his staff to come and speak to us at his press conference. And I think one of the big questions coming into this, really, something we didn't kind of know, is how is Slot going to approach these last few games? Is he going to be desperate to get past the 90-point mark? Is he going to want to finish with as many points as possible and win every single game, or is he going to maybe mix things up and try some new things as he looks to prepare for the new season? We do have our answer now. It was one of the first questions he was asked about in terms of, is he going to make some changes? Is he going to, or is he just going to be strongest lineup to the end of the season? And he said, this is the direct quote, his answer was, "My lineups will be different mostly to the ones we've had until now. We aren't going to change everyone, but there is going to be rotation, so we can expect some changes in these final 4 games. It's not going to be that pretty much nailed on starting 11 that we've seen for so much of this season." It's something that Slot's been criticised for, but it's also, I think you have to say, a cornerstone of why Liverpool have been so good, because they've had that continuity. But we are going to see some changes in the coming games, so of course that means opportunities for some fringe players. And he was asked about that, some of the players who might deserve to come in, and he said some of them deserve to play earlier in the season. So I think you can imagine who he's alluding to there. You think about Wataru Endo being a great professional in this season. There's a real clamour, isn't there, to see a bit more of Federico Chiesa. And I think one of the obvious ones, probably top of the list really, in terms of maybe deserving a little bit more game time than he's had this season, is Harvey Elliott for me. Now, it has been such a frustrating season for him, hasn't it? I mean, Jurgen Klopp left at the end of last season and said one of his big regrets was not using Harvey Elliott more. So he maybe thought, under a new manager, I'm going to get more chances. This is going to be the season for me, but it hasn't quite worked out for him that way. Obviously, an injury early in the season, and then he's come back and he's really struggled to dislodge Dominic Szoboszlai from that attacking midfield role. Hasn't had chances on the right-hand side where he would maybe move Mo Salah, who's had, of course, an incredible season. So it has been a difficult time for him, and we've seen a few links emerging in recent weeks, haven't we, to move to other clubs where he might be going. There is interest in him around the Premier League and abroad coming into this summer. Now, he did an interview with the Liverpool Echo this week in which he kind of shot all that down and said that his main priority really is to want to stay with Liverpool and fight for his place. And so you wonder kind of, is there a chance for him to do that? Is the coming games a chance for him to prove that he's worthy of that? And you did wonder, well, is it just a case that Arne Slot didn't really fancy him? Does he not really rate him as a player? But we've kind of got a bit of an insight into that today, which I thought was really interesting. He was asked about why we haven't maybe seen a bit more of Harvey Elliott, and Slot said the first part after he came back from injury, he wasn't the same as before, but the last few months he's been back to his old level again. And he said that I really like it, what I've seen from him in the last few months. So it shows you really that injury and that break from playing clearly took a bit of the edge off Elliott's game, and he's had to find sharpness since, get himself back in rhythm. And then of course, since he's done that, you don't really want to rock the boat when you're on such a charge of good results and you're closing in on the Premier League title. So I can sympathise with Slot on that front, but of course Elliott will want more next season. He'll want to avoid an injury that will disrupt him in a similar way, but he will want to play more football. And maybe these coming games, these 4 games, are going to be more opportunities to show that he deserves more, that he should be part of the rotation, that he should be more involved more regularly, really. And I guess in terms of the interest that's in him, I think the ideal situation here is, look, he's got 2 years left on his contract. You can ride that for another year, can't you, before any decision's made? He's desperate to stay. Liverpool know how good he is, and he makes such an impact when he comes into the team. And also, I think Liverpool will want to limit turnover as well if possible, because there are already quite a few queued up to go this summer. So if they can avoid that with a player like Harvey, who is desperate to stay as well, then I think that would be a good move. But of course, it would be helpful to him to come in these 4 games and also play well, really, and make an impression on the manager. So let's hope that he does that, because I think he's a quality young player. Now, in terms of the team at Chelsea, the team news coming into that one, we have had an update on Conor Bradley as well, and he of course missed the game at the weekend with a knock, it was described as by sources at Liverpool, but he is back in training today, and so there is a hope that he will be in the squad, or an expectation really that he will be in the squad. We'll see whether that's a start or not, and I think again that's an interesting kind of talking point coming into these final games, isn't it really, in terms of whether he does start or not, because of the links with Trent Alexander-Arnold and the doubts over his future. Do you start preparing for the future by throwing Conor Bradley in there? We'll have to see. And the manager, of course, was asked about Trent today and his contract situation. We get one of those in every press conference, don't we? A contract question. But of course, as ever, he dodged the question, didn't want to give an update. But I would say that the expectation still at Liverpool is that Trent Alexander-Arnold will leave on a free this summer to join Real Madrid, and it would take a huge U-turn from here. It would be a surprise and a change of mind, really, if Trent was to stay at Liverpool. So we're still as you were on that, and let's see what that means for Conor Bradley coming into the team. Now, one of the great talking points, I think, from this press conference, actually, of course, we talked about the celebrations and everything that happened around the weekend and how huge that was for Liverpool, and Arne Slot was absolutely glowing in his praise of Liverpool supporters, which I think you should all enjoy this. He said, "I don't need to tell anyone how special our fans are. They were," and this is the way he said it, he said, "unbelievable. Not only the emotion, but not coming on the pitch." He said that allowed everyone to celebrate. He said didn't ruin it. He said, you know, and he said that the noise during the game and everything, he said it was, I know it was our fans, some of the best days of their lives, and he said it's the same for me as well. So he's absolutely full of praise. But the reason I highlight this comment as well is that he almost threw this forward. This has maybe a deeper meaning as well, in that he knows the importance of those scenes, how that league win was greeted, and what that says about Liverpool in terms of, yes, the league win itself, but also generally the way that Liverpool embraced it and celebrated it, how the fans have been all season, really. And he said, winning the league, having these fans, that is a big attraction for any player that we want to bring in. So you can imagine when he sits down in the coming weeks with Richard Hughes, and they have conversations with players who might be thinking about Liverpool, but maybe have got interest from elsewhere. I mean, Dean Huijsen's a great example, all interest from across the Premier League and interest from Europe as well. But if you can sell the idea of, look at the pictures, look at the videos from this final day at Anfield, look at these supporters, look at what it is to play for Liverpool and play at Anfield, that can be really helpful to the manager and his sporting director in terms of selling the project. So I thought it was really interesting he said that, and we'll see what impact that has on the summer in terms of convincing players. I think it will do an awful lot, because it's so much easier to sell it, isn't it, when you are the Premier League champions and you're as well supported as Liverpool are. So we'll see the impact for that. So going to wrap it up there anyway. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments on the rotation. Who else do you want to see apart from Elliot? I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of people who want to see a little bit of Chiesa as well. Let me know your starting 11s and what other changes and what other things you want to see from the remainder of the season as well. Always interested to hear your thoughts. I'm going to leave it there by asking if you can like and subscribe. That's always massively appreciated, and I'll see you guys very soon.